Welcome to the future.
Who's this clown?
Not clown. Joker.
Avengers!
Assemble.
Nobody tampers with the equipment except Tony Stark.
Good idea.
United, the Avengers are strong.
Hawkeye, hands off.
Fool! Have you forgotten my invincible magnetic power?
Not this time, Magneto.
My mutant brain senses danger.
Something unseen is slowly spreading its poison, edging tempers.
Think carefully before you do this.
You filthy criminals.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Alrighty. Hey, you're not supposed to see that. Get out of here. Oops. Why is the music on? Can I hear it? Oh, it's playing through. Give me a second, guys. Well, anyway, welcome to the episode 126. I think it's 126.
We're professionals, you know.
We are professionals. Anyway, welcome to episode 126 as I get this music going because, you know, I like to have the vibe, right? Like, I don't like us just to like there be just dead space sound, right?
What's
like,
the vibe, bro?
what's the vibe check, bro? Oh, so gross.
Yuck.
Yuckies. Anyway, welcome to episode 126. Yes, I believe it's 126. As I put in the chat, and as well as Patty said, it's like a reflex to smash that like button right on entry. So make sure to hit that like button, and if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button too. And you might as well ring the bell so you get notified every time Two Fat Guys Pull Us has a new video and or goes live. There's the jams. There's the tunes. Anyway, let's talk about some business, and then we'll get on to this. You know, I think it was actually a really good week. I was surprised, very surprised. Anyway, business. Let's talk about our show's sponsor, which is Collected Comics and Games here in the DFW area. They are the LCS that me and Nate both go to, where we frequent, where we get our books, where we get all of our goodies. Ron over there, Ron and Brent take care of us over there. And if you're ever in the DFW area, make sure to hit up Collected Comics and Games. They're a great LCS here in the DFW area. But there are also many other comic book shops here in the DFW area that you should definitely check out. But Collected should be like the first stop or the last stop that you make when you're making your little run here. But they have a website called brainycomics.com. And on brainycomics.com, you can go over there and do a little bit of shopping. You get some exclusive and variant covers, bundles, bad idea books, new comics, mystery bags, back issues, graphic novels, games, toys and collectibles, and even trading cards. It's a great site. If you want to do any comic book shopping online, definitely hit up brainycomics.com. Now, before you finish, if you decide to do some shopping, before you finish, I got like this little flick of something, and anyway, it's bothering me. Anyway, if you do any shopping over at brainycomics.com, before you check out, before you leave, we would love for you to go into that search bar right here, type in Two Fat Guys Pull Us, and when you press enter, this is going to pop up. It is a Two Fat Guys Pull Us upgrade and premium upgrade. Now, if you do the upgrade and you put that in your basket for $8, you get one mystery exclusive variant cover in your what you buy, right? So whatever comes in the mail, you'll get one mystery exclusive cover comic. If you do the premium for $15, you get two. Now, if you didn't notice, on the front page, Ron's got all of his but all of his variant covers that he currently has in stock. And these are updated, weekly, sometimes bi-weekly. And he just got in these awesome Scarlet Witch #1 variants by David Yakiyama, which look amazing. But he's got a ton. You can browse all the stuff that he's got in there, and you have a potential to get one of these when you do the upgrade. Now, I'm not saying you're going to get that one exactly, but you have a chance. And if you notice, a lot of the prices on these variant covers are at $15 minimum. Some of them are at $10. So the $8 one is a really good, it's a good offer. But if you do the $15, you get two, right? That is an insane deal. So make sure, if you go shopping on brainycomics.com, before you check out, put that Two Fat Guys Pull List upgrade or premium upgrade in your cart before you check out. And then when you get your stuff in the mail, let us know what you got in your Two Fat Guys Pull List upgrade with the mystery pool. We would love to see that. So that is that when it comes to talking about our show's sponsor. Let's talk about our other business, and that is our sub giveaway, guys. We are so close to 850 subscribers, guys. It's insane. We have been climbing it pretty quickly, and it's just going up and up and up. Currently, now again, numbers fluctuate, right? It could go up or it could go down by the time this comes out, or as we're going live. We are at 822. So we are very close to 850, right? And when we hit 850 subscribers, you guys know the deal. We give away a slab, and we're going to give away a Green Lantern #1 store or retail incentive, CBCS graded 9.8 with Jon Stewart on the cover. This is a beautiful book. It's a very awesome cover. I'm kind of sad to see it go, but we're going to give it away to somebody, some lucky winner that has already subbed to the show. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. And as you know, all y'all know, with all of our videos that we make, we talk about the sub giveaway that we're trying to ultimately hit by hitting 1,000 subscribers. And that is the Amazing Spider-Man #4 Original Sin tie-in, first appearance of Silk, CBCS graded 9.8. At 1,000 subs, guys, we are giving this away, and we're getting close, man. I mean, we're about to hit 850. I feel like we'll hit this really quick. We're giving away a slab at 952. I just haven't picked it yet. So be on the lookout for that. But please, if you're not already, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and smash that like. You know what to do. So, March 29th was our poll. It wasn't terribly small, but it wasn't massive, which I like these kinds of polls where we're not just busting at the brim with comics to the point where it feels like a chore to read, but at the same time it didn't end quickly where we have like 5 or 6 books, which next week is kind of like that, where we don't have a lot of books. There's some good books, but we don't have a lot. But I actually enjoyed this week. I thought there were multiple contenders for pick of the week. And I will tell you now, I don't know what my pick of the week is as of this show, because there were that many books that I liked. So it's going to be a gut feeling, you know.
I give you one guess.
Oh God, I already know. Anyway, can't complain watching WrestleMania. There you go. Yeah, we all know what your pick of the week's going to be. So when we get there, I'm just going to I'm going to transition to that book and hit the button immediately. Yeah. Good. Which it's Captain Britain, right? Anyway, let's get to let's get to chat really quick. We got Patty in the chat. Here's to say that the new Hulk/Thing book, Clobbering Time, finally came out, and it was all right. I'm gonna check issue 2 out. That thing was just a silly goose time. Interesting. Joe says, "What's up, Comic Fam? What up, Joe?" Only part that threw me off was the art. Kind of seemed like the computer generated thing, the pre-pose for characters. I don't like that. I don't either. What up, John? What up, Calvin? What up, Joe? Let's talk about some Z-Men. Was there an X book? Oh yeah, it was Deadpool. That's all I had. I know there were other books, but I only read Deadpool.
Deadpool in Britain. Oh,
that's right. Scott says that Nakayama cover are so beautiful in person. Yeah, I gotta get a hold of that. Let's see, talking to Patty, so you're not even talking to us. My poll next week is really small. Mine's small pretty too. It is pretty small. Can't complain watching WrestleMania. Yep. Also, any thoughts on Marvel Entertainment being folded into Disney? Let's do a halftime question on that. Yeah. Sure. Or do we talk about it now?
I just don't have anything to add. I don't know what that means. I don't know. I know that the guy that got fired was kind of a piece of shit. He was the guy that was responsible for canceling Fantastic Four and X-Men books and like bringing up the Inhumans because he was bitter about Fox having movie rights. But like, other than he was not very big on like representation. But sure, so great that guy's gone. But like, what that means logistically for how Marvel is going to work, I don't understand the ramifications that I don't think anybody does.
I think the only thing, and I think a lot of people are worried about, of what I've read online, is people are really worried, and I think we've talked about this before too, is that with the Marvel Entertainment, including comic books being folded into Disney, we'll see more of a production within the comics that mirror the movies. That's the worry. And I'm on the fence when it comes to that. I know that you're not. You're more on the, like, I don't want that. And for me, I'm kind of like 50-50. Like, I understand why I wouldn't want that, but I also kind of see where I kind of want that. It's weird. But overall, just based off of like a few tweets that I've read or articles on CBR that I've read, I don't necessarily see a problem with it. It kind of feels like we're already kind of doing that already, you know? Like, it's just not completely folded into Disney, and I don't think that's a problem, to be honest. I think solidifying something like that only makes it stronger, and I think there'll be more of an emphasis on good storytelling, right?
Well, and ultimately, Feige has been the number one in charge of both comics and MCU for a few years now, right? Like, that's not going to change. So,
yeah, I agree.
not that worried about it.
Garrison says, "I'll tell you right now, Marvel finna print less books, and there's going to be a lot more synergy." You know, we kind of seen it with DC, where the amount of books that DC has been putting out, new books, because I won't say, I mean, there are a lot of books, but when you look at the solicitations for DC, there are not that many. I mean, you go through it fairly quickly compared to Marvel. I don't know. I think they'll still come out with books. I don't know. I don't see a problem with it. I think we're going to get more continuity. We're going to get an emphasis on creativity, because that's kind of, and I hate to like toe the company line, because I'm not at all like associated with them, but I'm just saying, like, at the heart of Disney, outside of the money making machine, is creativity, is them pushing the boundaries of storytelling. Whether it's through the theme park or through their movies or now through through Medium. So I don't see a problem with it. I think, Disney has a much better ship to run than DC does. I'll say that right now. Like, DC Comics and Warner Brothers as a whole with their DC properties are in shambles right now. Like, that's just the perception. Even if it's not true, that's the perception. And with Marvel, it's like, I'm excited no matter, like, every time solicitations come up, I'm like, yep, sounds great. But I understand the trepidation towards the idea of Marvel kind of being fit into a box at Disney. I totally get that. But I think we're already kind of there. It's just official now, in my opinion.
I think Joe said it best for how I feel. He said, I'm not reading into it too much. It wasn't long ago people thought DC will only do digital and trades. There were some fairly prominent YouTubers that said, mark my words, 2022, there will not be a single print floppy release of DC at all.
Comic books are dead. Wow. Yeah. Comic book stores are dead. Yeah. And I can tell you right now, that's just not true. And I guarantee you what's going to happen is Disney as a company will look at other print media that is being consumed that is in the same style of comics, aka manga, and go, okay, how can we model that style as well? I'm telling you right now, if comics were dead, then manga wouldn't exist either. And so it's not going anywhere, guys. I think we're just going to get, I think we're going to get more consistency. We may get less books. That's very possible, but I'm not fretting over it. If Feige's in control, shit, even if Feige went off and became an executive within Disney on higher, right? Yeah. And then what's his name? Favreau became in charge of Marvel, I'd still be happy. I'd be like, oh yeah, dude. Anyway,
I think Calvin is the best idea.
What's he got?
Comic books are dead. Only zombie comics from now on.
I mean, I don't know about that one. There you go, John. My bacon cat doesn't think comic. Yeah, same here. Same. All right, let's get into this week. Let's push forward. Episode 126. Let's hit into the pool. And first up, we have Captain Britain. Betsy Braddock. I read that backwards. Betsy Braddock, Captain Britain, issue number 2 from Teenie Howard. Mm-hmm. Tell me how it went.
It went okay. My Steam is running out a little bit on this book, and I'm honestly not 100% sure why. I don't know that it's really doing anything different than it's done in the past 7 issues, because I'm just considering this arc 2 of Knights of X, but essentially what we have here is Morgan Le Fay finds out that she needs to find a captain, or she needs to find a Betsy Braddock that's not part of the Captain Britain Corps,
Right.
and in the multiverse, and use her to shift the tide of power. And she eventually finds one who is like basically an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. who works alongside Agent Carter.
Okay.
And invades that world and tries to trick her, but then of course Rachel and Betsy are right behind and thwart her moves. And there's like a really weird part where their Agent Carter gets confused and like mind screwed over by Morgan Le Fay, but they defeat it quickly. And like it just all felt so, I felt like we were running in circles and we weren't really promoting a story that much.
Okay.
Because ultimately what happened was at the end of the first issue was, I don't remember those robots that are all like of one mind, but whatever they're called, they're like, seems like we've defeated them. And by the end of this issue, it's like, well, actually they're not defeated and we're just going to turn them into Captain Britons. And I was just like, wait, what? But Morgan Le Fay turns them into Captain Britons.
Okay.
I don't know. What I've always really liked about this book was that it was an interesting and creative I don't want to say outcast, but like just it didn't fit in the Krakoa era. It really didn't matter. I liked when it did, when the book very first came out, and it was tied in with Ten of Swords and stuff, and that was fun. And then Knights of X I thought was really fun, and I liked what we were doing there because it still was like Krakoa adjacent, and then now this just like this could be written at any given point of X-Men lore. Doesn't matter. Like it could have been 30 years ago. Doesn't matter. And it feels like maybe we're jumping in and pushing a little bit more of the Excalibur lore, which if you're an Excalibur fan, maybe you're loving this. Like bringing in characters like Peter Wisdom again, and some of the other random baddies from Excalibur, but I'm not a huge Excalibur fan. Not that it was bad, but I just haven't read it. And so as this drifts away from more Arthurian legend and more into like Excalibur homage, I'm becoming less interested.
Yeah, and I remember, and that might be what some people want, right? Like I remember when Tini Howard's run first came out of Excalibur, and I remember I was gonna pick it up, and I think I was picking it up at Zeus, and the guy, the owner of Zeus was like, "You can skip that one." And I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, because it's not really about it. It's not really about Excalibur." I was like, "Oh, well, that kind of sounds. I kind of want to pick it up now." You know what I mean? And now that we're kind of shifting into that tone, it happened in issue 1 where there was like all this stuff going on from, like you're saying, Captain Britain lore. I just felt lost, and it just feels, to T. Howard's credit, great. If that's what she wants to do, awesome. Not saying that she shouldn't do that, but I think I'm, I didn't even read this issue. I think I'm out. I just didn't even pick it up. Like I was just like, I'm good. Like I think we're moving towards a soft reset within the X line here pretty soon. After the Sins of Sinister with the Fall of X. And I'm very, very interested to see, what books get picked up, what new books come out, what titles come back, what new titles do we get that people felt like should have been resurrected when Krakoa started. So I'm kind of, I think the only other book that's going to potentially survive for me is X-Force, because it's just it's become back to what it used to be. But if the resets happen and Benjamin Percy isn't writing Wolverine, even though I know Wolverine's doing really cool shit right now, I'd probably pick it up, just to try it. So I think this is one of these books that I bet this book ends after 5 or 6 issues, just like,
for sure.
Yeah,
I think
this is just it. All right, let's keep moving. Let's move forward. Next up we have Daredevil issue number 9. Woo!
This issue is a lot.
It's a lot, dude. Like, and I have mixed feelings about it. I'll say my initial reaction when I read it was like, oh shit, like shocked and actually quite entertained. But the more that I digest it and the more that I know what Chip is doing right now and about to do over at DC, this kind of feels like, hey, wrap it up. Just get this, wrap it up. You know, like that's kind of how I felt, because we had this huge build with the hand and the fist and with, what's the name of the mentor? Stick. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, it's like, gotcha. We're actually agents of the hand, and we're dust. We're dead. You know. Now, when it happened in the book, when Foggy started disappearing, and then Stick started, I was like, oh, like, you know, like, damn, son. But then, as I said, as I removed myself from the issue and read other books, I got past the hype of it and the hook of it, and I was like, oh no. What? Wait, no, the tempo, it's going way too fast.
Okay,
that's how I felt. But I enjoyed it. I
felt a little confused.
Okay.
What exactly happened in the end? Like,
so
Foggy and Stick weren't there the whole time?
They were dead the whole time. They've been dead.
And who did that?
I don't know.
Oh.
Everyone
else is still there?
It sounds like it. Now, what could happen...
Agony and the dinosaur dude and...
What could happen is we get it now. Someone in the chat let us know, but what could happen is in issue 10 or issue 11, we get like a 2 years ago, you know, some shit like that, where we jump back and we find out that the hand murdered Foggy and Stick and planted the seed decade, or 2 years ago or 5 years ago, unless it's already come up in like the Punisher issues, which I don't think it has, because I think someone would have told us like, hey, you need to be reading Punisher because this shit's going on. I bet that's what happens. Like, we get an explanation to why, because I can see Chip going like, people are going to be completely blown out of the way. What? Foggy's dead? Stick is dead, right?
Yeah.
And then, I got to go read the next issue to see exactly how that happened. So, I don't know.
Okay, so I'm going to go on a slight tangent or a slight rant here.
Okay.
And this book is going to bear the grunt of it, but it is not only this book's fault.
Okay.
This week, I read a article from CBR, I think, from Ron Franz about comic book critiquing and comic book reviewing, and what the lack was and how people are not doing it right, and how it's kind of hurting the medium, in his opinion.
Right.
And one of the things that he brought up a lot was something that I feel like you and I have covered multiple times, and that is the unequal distribution of credit for story given between the writer and the artist.
Okay.
And I feel like you and I do a pretty good job of recognizing that and trying to give, the artist their due.
Right.
And so before I say what I'm about to say, this is absolutely not a judgment on who's the
Garcia.
Manuel Garcia. Not a judgment on his art at all. But this book lost all of its pacing because Chichetto was not on the book.
Oh, like 100%.
And if we are going to start saying that, if we're going to push the sentiment that I agree with, that artists are just as central to a book than their writer, then we need to stop saying this is Chip and Chichetto's Daredevil, when this run ends, I think Chichetto is only going to be on half of the books, and that's very stupid, and that's very dumb. I don't know why that is. I am not, obviously a part of any sort of behind the scenes stuff, and maybe it's because Chichetto needs a little bit more time and can't keep up with the schedule. Maybe it's because they don't want to pay Chichetto to do all of the issues, and they want to find cheaper guys. Maybe it's because he's overcommitted. I'm not placing blame on anyone because I don't know what it is, but if we as a community and as creators, because I heard this judgment from a very revered creator, right? Like Ron Franz has done a ton of stuff. And if we're going to sit here and say that like artists are just as equal to a book, we got to start having our artists on the book. This book was much, much worse than it ever needed to be because Chichetto was missing.
Right. And
again, that's not because Garcia's art is bad. It's because it's everything, right? Like it's, to me, it was the framing, it was the the movement, it was
or lack of movement.
Like, honestly, I felt like this was a very still moving issue. Like the pace went really quickly, but it almost felt like I was watching this in snapshots. And so I this week, for some reason, I got really frustrated with this problem. And there's another Marvel book. I'll bring it up when we get to it. I won't rant about it, but there's another Marvel book that did the same thing. And I'm just kind of bummed out. Just kind of bummed out about all that.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about it a lot. Like you said, like the lack of consistency in artwork. God damn it. I got a tickle in my throat.
Uh-oh. Someone tickle his pickle and his throat will be better.
Anyway, and DC does this a lot too, and I feel like they do it more frequently than Marvel. But it does happen in Marvel. I mean, it happened in our X books. I mean, it's happening here. But I just don't know what the answer is. Like, how do you solve that? Because you want this book to come out. You want, in a perfect world, this book comes out every month, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, how many times have we said, okay, Strange Academy or Peach Momoko's books?
Mm-hmm.
God damn it!
I know where you're going with this, and I would say that the delays happen 90% of the time when a writer gets behind,
right?
But not when an artist gets behind. When an artist gets behind, they just go, give it to Joe Schmo.
That's bullshit,
and he can figure it out. And I think that's kind of bullshit. And I think, we saw that with, like you said, with Strange Academy, and it still felt great even when we had those long gaps. I mean, at this point, if you are a committed monthly comic subscriber and you're like dropping a book after a 1 month delay, like you're probably a little too fickle for monthly single issue comics. And don't get me wrong, I love having my comics on time, but like I would have rather have waited 2 more months for Daredevil #9 with Chichetto art than with anyone else's art.
Right.
Because and again, I mean anyone else's. Like, throw my favorite. Tell me it would have been a Peach Momoko. I still would be like, no, give me Chichetto, please. Let him do his book.
Isn't there an artist though that's pretty dang close to Chichetto that has been on this book that we actually like?
Kukulo, right?
Kukulo, yeah. Now, and I think every book, I think that's, if you're gonna keep this idea of, if the writer is late, we hold. If the artist is late, we move, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to do that, then they need to pair. I think the smart idea, not the cheap idea, the smart idea is to pair artists together that have similar styles. I'm not saying they copy each other. Now, granted, if you want to get into the manga, the manga argument, they have teams of people who mimic each other's style, and you would never know for a minute that the artist changed. They take pages, and that's how they get it out quick enough, right? Hey, you got pages 1 and 2, you got 3 and 4, and they mimic. So if we want to talk about consistency, and I don't know if that's a labor thing, like if that's like a union thing or what, like, no one can copy my style, like blah, 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 blah. Like, no. I think that's what it needs to be, is like, there needs to be consistency, because how many times have we been out of a book because not only did the story go sideways, but the art just went in a completely different direction, and there was no explanation for it. And it happens in DC, I think, more where there's a lack of consistency of artists. At least with Marvel, they kind of come back, and maybe that's worse because like you get them, you're like, oh, they're finally back. Oh, 2 issues gone, now they're back. You know, they've left. So, but I think the best way I think to fix this problem is to pair artists with people that complement each other. You know, Pepe Larraz and Pena. They go hand in hand.
See, I think that would be wonderful too. Like, it just have like, even if you rotated the book or something, or just say, you know, each person's going to do an arc, and that way you give them a little bit, you know, different, give them a break. You know, like while one guy's working on one arc, the next guy's working on the next. Just something. No,
just Grayson. No. I think you're misunderstanding what we're saying, because I would actually disagree, guys. Marvel is a publishing house. The whole point of them is to publish books on time. It's kind of disrespectful to the art and the fans to consistently switch artists. No, that's what we know. I think, am I misreading that?
It's kind of disrespectful to the art and to the fans to constantly switch artists. That's what we're saying, right? Like,
yeah,
we want. I mean, you're right. It seems like these are two different statements. It seems like Marvel doesn't care because all they care about is publishing books on time. Right. But that act is in itself disrespectful to that artists if they're not giving them enough time to finish their art, even if they needed a little bit extra than publishing on time would allow them.
I mean, but how many? They have done that with certain books. Look at Strange Academy. They have not once changed the artist. They have let Roberto Ramos, do his thing, and we don't get the book for 2 months, 3 months, even 4. And how many times did we complain? Not once. I mean, it was frustrating, but at least we got, you know, when you pick up that trade, it is going to be consistent the whole way through, right? Mm-hmm. Same thing with Peach Momoko. And that's one artist where you're like, I don't know what you could do. I'm sure there are some artists out there that could probably mimic her style, but damn, that would be really fucking hard because she's just so unique.
Well, yeah, I think Calvin makes a good point too, and he says that comic art used to all look pretty similar back in the day. And like, yeah, like when John Romita Sr. and like, oh god, I can't even remember his name. Who's the dude that took over Spider-Man for so long after the original?
Mark Bagley?
No. Old original Spider-Man. Sal Buscema. A lot of those guys like looked very similar. But my God, look at Manuel Garcia and then Marco Cicchetto's art next to each other, and they are radically different. And that's part of comics is like we're getting more and more like stylized art, right? Like even normal books are getting stylized. You know, like Trad Moore is getting his own book because of how unique his style is, right? And they're even saying write the damn thing because we like your art. And so that's fine. If we're going to do stylized, that's great. Keep this at least an artist in that same style. Marco Cicchetto and Manuel Garcia are not even in the same ballpark of styles. Right. And it's to me, it's just jarring. And again, it's not just like the way they draw a face, right? It's the way they choose to do their frames. It's the way that they choose to create motion. It's the ways that they choose what to give detail to and what to leave, you know, kind of unfinished in the background. Like all of these smaller choices that I think really add up to a dynamic that creates a story that's totally different.
Okay, so let's put the art style aside. And like you said, you were confused with the story to an extent. Like, well, you know, what happened to Foggy? What happened to Stick? I think, you know, overall, it probably could have been executed a little better. But I think we're gonna find out what happened to them within the next issue or two. I think my complaint is, outside of like you're saying, the artwork, is that it's starting to feel rushed. I felt like this whole build up to 9, even 8 was like, oh damn, man, we're doing some shit, right? And then all of a sudden it doesn't matter. Like it's all been a farce. And I not to say that isn't effective and that's not a cool thing. I just felt like it was very rushed in this issue. And that would be, and that's not a major critique because I still enjoyed the issue. I thought it was a fun issue. Like that hook of the fact that they were dead the entire time. It's like, oh damn, I can't wait for the explanation for that. but it did feel rushed. And I'm just hoping that we're not rushing to the end of Daredevil so that Chip can focus on the end of his Batman run. And then what is Chip going to do? So I don't know. That's that. Where did it? Yeah, Empire said, I'd rather books be delayed than get artists I didn't sign up for. 100%. And I will say, and I don't, maybe it's not true, but it just feels like it's way more prevalent in DC Comics than it is Marvel. Not to say that it doesn't happen in Marvel. Look, we just saw it, right? But there seems to be some semblance of consistency at Marvel, a little bit. Whereas with DC, like every 2 issues, it's like mint, change, mint, change, mint, change. Because I'll even say this in Rainbow Rowell's She-Hulk run right now, I think we've had 3 artists. But that being said, they're very similar to one another. That I never once felt like, I think I'm done. You know, they're very similar.
Yeah. So I wanted to make sure I wasn't crazy, and I went back and looked at the series so far. We have 9 issues of Daredevil. How many issues do you think Chichetto was the only artist on? Meaning he didn't have help for finishing the book. Out of 9. And remember, out of 9, and remember, okay, this has been marketed by Marvel themselves as Chip Zdarsky and Marco Cicchetto's Daredevil run. Their epic run is coming to its conclusion. His name is directly tied to this book.
I'm going to say 3.
It's 2.
Oh, shit.
It's 2. It's 2 books.
God damn.
In the 9 issues that we have had of this volumed series, Marco Cicchetto has been the main artist 2 times. And we were wrong. It was Rafael de la Torre is the artist that is similar.
Oh, okay.
That's
okay.
But 2 times, I think that's a really big problem. Like
John, you will always have our back. You will have us in your corner. Any artist will have us in their corner when it comes to keeping it consistent and finishing your job, finishing your work. We want to see it through. That's your vision, right? And like Nate's saying, this book is marketed as Chip Zdarsky and Nick, or was it again? Is it Nick Klein? No.
Huh?
Who's the artist again? I'm blanking.
Cicchetto.
I wanted to say Nick Klein. Cicchetto. And that, like, you know, even Empire. That's what I signed up for. That's what I got bought for. That's when I read issue 1. You're like, yo, it's firing on all cylinders, and that happens a lot in comics where you're like, oh man, this is it. This is money. And then, oop, never mind. You know. But anyway. Empire, question: if the artists are being replaced, wouldn't it be better if you have a writer and artist write monthly or bi-monthly story collections? I think, and we could be stepping on toes, right? We could be stepping on toes right now. What do we fucking know? You know, this is year 3 of this journey for us.
I know everything. You were asking. I just wanted to make sure that was understood. Everything.
All I'm saying is I think that there's a way to do it proficiently and to make sure that all parties are happy. And I'm telling you right now, I think the way to do it is you pair artists. You find somebody that has the same. If you're going to stick with that style, you find somebody that can mimic that style. But you still give them credit, right? When artist A is off, you still give artist B the credit, but when the reader or the reader and or the fan gets the book, they don't have a fucking clue outside of the credits on the book. No. Again, look at manga. and I don't think I've ever been like, I've read it and gone, well, that's not the same. You know, there is a dedication to that where they're like, we're going to keep this consistent, so we're going to have a team of people who help you get through this because this is a very popular manga. You know, so. All right, let's go over to Deadpool issue number 5 from Wong and Kukulo. I'm enjoying the book. It's just a silly goose time when we all knew Carnage was coming back, right? We knew it was coming, and I almost was like, I wonder how Nate's going to react to this. And I feel like the way they dealt with Carnage in this book was so good, because it was like, aha, I'm back, dead, straight up dead, like fuck yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. Overall, I was really impressed with it. I think Wong does an amazing job of just writing Deadpool's voice. Kukulo is banging it on the art, like, and the coloring on it is great. The letter, like, the whole book flows. And we're dealing with some characters that I could give two shits about. I love Deadpool, but there are other characters I'm like, whatever. But just the ridiculousness of this book feels so fluid and so good. Like, it just feels right. And the fact that you got me to care about a giant symbiote dog or hyena, whatever the fuck you want to call that, is really cool.
Joe, no, this is not the same Carnage. It's even listed as Carnage 2.0.
Right.
However, they're gonna fucking figure that out. It's not the same Carnage.
Anyway, I thought it was a good book. I'm looking forward to the next issue. This is a solid pull on my list. I've never been like, I'll wait until the next one. No, like Wong has me. We're good. Like,
yep. Me too, and that's crazy to say for me on a Deadpool book.
Right.
Another thing too that I found really interesting was I kind of sat down and was trying to just jot down some thoughts when I read this book, because if I read a book before Friday, I'll usually jot down thoughts because my brain has very limited space. And I was kind of stumped on what to write down for this, and I basically came to the conclusion that sometimes, especially a comedy-minded book, if you can close that book and say I really enjoyed it, and I almost wonder if that's enough sometimes. Like,
yeah,
I couldn't exactly tell you. I was oh yeah, Cassidy did get kind of eaten again after popping right up, but like it took me a second. But at the same time, like I read the whole book and was entertained the whole time, and when I got to the last page, I was like, oh damn it, I want more.
Right.
And I don't know how else to say another a book is doing its job in that way.
No, and I totally agree with you. I think that's the sweet spot that I think we look for in all these books, is when you're reading it and it ends, you're like, what? I just picked it up, right? But it's not because it wasn't full, it wasn't thick. It was, but you were just so immersed in what the writer and the artist were doing, and the colorist, the whole team, that you just got lost in it. And so when it ends, you're like, well, damn it, now I got to wait another month. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Just is what it is. But Deadpool, really, really good. Great. Chat, I agree with. Okay, let's get that here. Deadpool right now is a baby daddy. I agree with that. Sometimes you don't need more than just some entertainment. John, I like how the Carnage dog's head tilts sideways at certain angles. Kind of creepy. I agree. Comics that make me smile is the winner in my book. Yeah, 100%. 100%. All right, let's jump over to Invincible Iron Man issue number 4. This is one of the books for me. It's all well. I highly recommend you go read it.
Oh, I will.
After the show. Fuck. This is one of these books that I'm really close to pushing this pick of the week, but it's another book, unfortunately. But this, if I had a no, I can't. There's too much. Like, it's if it was between Marvel, it's this one and Strange Academy as a pick of the week. But this was really fucking good, and we see a side of Tony that I don't think we've seen in a long time. Someone who has finally said, "Fuck it, I'm not holding back." And he doesn't have to with Fei Long. Fei Long's essentially for all intents and purposes, a Children of the Vault. Like he's evolved without the X gene, right? So he's manipulated his genetics to have powers. And so in this book, we find out that Fei Long has bought Stark Industries. He's using it for his own devious purposes. I think we know where we're going with that. But Iron Man is going to call him out, and they get into a big street fight, and it's badass. And we get a Tony that I don't think we've seen in a while, who's kind of ruthless, who's kind of like, I'm going to make sure that you understand I'm fucking Tony Stark. It doesn't matter if you own my company, you're my bitch. Like, that's kind of what we get in this issue. Cover art, the cover art this week is for me. Yeah, gotcha. I don't know. I just thought it was great. And then on top of that, Gary Jerry is connecting, and obviously we're going to get a connectivity with, right now he's doing it with Captain Marvel. then he's going into with his X-Men now with Iron Man. And I think Gary's firing on all cylinders. Some of y'all may disagree with me, but it just feels like he's found his rhythm again when it comes to X-Men, which is really odd to say because we're talking about an Iron Man book, but he's interweaving these two narratives right now.
Right. Well, and we've seen with that new structure for Fall of X, right, that this book is dead set in the middle of the after effects of Fall of X. So.
Yeah, and that's because of Fei Long. You know, Fei Long is going to start using Tony's technology to start wiping out the mutants. Anyway, the best part about, I think Fei Long shines in this book so well. Like, we essentially have, you know, and he even says it, like, when their fight is over, and I'm not going to give it away, but he, you know, Iron Man does a really wicked thing to Fei Long. But at the end of it, Fei Long's like, I have my nemesis. You know, we've got this duo of intellectual prowess but also strength, and you know, there's just this chess game that looks like it's building between Tony and Fei Long, and I am here for it. It's looking cool. You know, I know this book kicked off a little, I wouldn't say weak, but we just didn't know where it was going, and goddamn, don't we have a direction for this book right now, and it feels really good. So I'm excited. And then the artwork in this book was really good too. I did not have I feel like the first 3 issues, I think issue 2 is where I was like, okay, it's good, but like, and I think that was the Riri thing. Like, it just felt kind of like, wait, what are we doing with Riri? You know, and I was happy that Riri was in it, but she just felt very underutilized. But now I feel like this book has got its footing now. So we'll see. Villain being an X-Men villain who hasn't much to do is an immediate transferred over to the X-Men. I'm interested, but again, just show a lot of missed opportunities in the X-Office, also Sentinels in Iron Man. Well, see, that's the thing. Fei Long's about to he's about to resurrect the, you know, if you look at solicitations, he's resurrecting the Sentinels, and he's using Iron Man tech to do it. So like, that's where we're headed. That's, you know, Sentinels are coming. And he can do it legally because he owns the goddamn company. You know, like he can do it. So that sounds scary. The only thing I wish is an update on Riri on the story. Yeah, so the Riri storyline has been just completely like, hey, we did it. Good. We took care of that. And they didn't really. The verbal fighting was just as cool as the physical fighting. That's right there, Joe. Perfect. They just sparred each other physically.
Read it already,
fucking
guys.
read it already. God damn. Right. Anyway, it was fun. All right, talking about another book that we really enjoyed, that's Strange Academy Finals, issue number 5. This felt like oh, you didn't like it?
No, this is another one I missed.
Oh, no.
I know.
Well, it felt like a payoff. You know, it felt like a little bit of a payoff. We get some questions answered. I don't want to give it away, so I'm going to read it. Okay. We find out about Doyle and who his real parentage is. Apparently, so he has a human mother. He was human, and he was basically dying. And his mother essentially like found a group of worshipers that were worshiping Dormammu, and she was just like, "Save my baby!" And he was like, "Okay," and he like put some of his essence into him, and so that's why he looks like Dormammu. He's got the power of Dormammu.
So his real Paps is not Dormammu.
No, his real Paps is a dickhead that left the family. But in practicality, or not practicality, in, you know, zip zap zoop, Dormammu's your dad, you know. So anyway, we finally get the beginning of the showdown between the two sides. Dormammu shows up with his, you know, his kids with what's her name again? What's the name of the main character? Emily. Emily shows up. She's just looking like a total badass, and the two groups are about to fight. That's essentially this issue. The adults are going to go do their thing over here, and the kids are going to do their thing over here. But it's even the adults are like, they're more important. They're the future. And I was like, hell yeah, new heroes. You know, we're going to get new storylines. And I think that's what really makes this book shine, is we're establishing new characters within the lore of old, right? And even the old characters are like, these guys are the future. And to me, this feels more genuine. than some of the other new characters that Marvel in the past has introduced. Not to say that like I love Marvel, I love Miles, I love Miss Marvel. Don't get me wrong, I do. But this just feels more genuine. It feels more homegrown.
I just want them to be given the opportunity.
I think they will, and the only reason why I say I think they will is because this series has done so well. Now, will it be Scotty Young writing them? Probably not. Will it be Ramos doing the artwork? Probably not. But at least these guys, this group of characters, this is the jumping off point, right? This is where they're going to jump into the big kids pool, and they're going to spread out into everybody else's books, and maybe they get their own book, or maybe they become characters in other books. But I'm here for it, and I think Scotty Young and Ramos have done, and we can say that, right? Unlike the other books, we can say that Scotty Young and Ramos have done an excellent job of cultivating the storyline in these characters and letting them grow up and letting them loose into the Marvel comic book universe. And hopefully we get more of them soon. I would love to see some of these characters show up in Jonathan Hickman's Gods book. I mean, this is right up their alley. So let's see. Maybe we will. Maybe we will get some of these characters, or maybe we'll get all of them in Gods. Maybe they'll be pivotal characters. Who knows?
That seems like a stretch.
Hey, man.
I'm just saying. I agree. It just seems like a.
No, you have to believe. Okay. Ramos's rumor is that they will do. Hold on. Oh, the Sentinels. Okay, that's the Tony Stark stuff. That makes sense, by the way, with the MCU. Anyways, Joe, 100% agree. In the MCU, I thought Timely was going to introduce Sentinels. It's from his comic history. I don't know. I just read Volume 2 of Strange Academy. I love it. The relationship between Doyle and Emily is so great. It is, and right now they're at like this impasse. So I'm hoping we can fix that shit. The only thing is does someone die?
Ugh. That would be big.
And I bet it'll be Doyle.
No, don't.
I'm just telling you, I think it's gonna be Doyle.
It'll probably be one of the side kids.
No, it's gonna be one of the main kids. It's gonna be either Doyle or Emily.
It'll be the kid that can't talk that's made out of needles.
No, they've already done that. Remember, he almost died. He got shattered into like a million
that's
pieces.
right. Okay, yeah, you're right.
It's gonna be Doyle. I'm telling you right now. Or it's gonna be the kid that can't do magic. And
I was about to say, it's gonna be the fat kid that doesn't have magic.
Yeah. Well, no, he'll end up getting killed and then he'll get resurrected. And, oh my God, he's the next Sorcerer Supreme. Whatever. Emily will just kiss him again. LOL. Yeah, right. Yeah. See, yeah. I don't want this book to end. I think that's the most important thing, and it will. That's unfortunate. It will. All right, let's jump over to Thor, issue number 32 from Groenbeck.
This is the other book that with the artists that messed me.
So I get what you're saying, but I guess I gotta choose my words wisely. I didn't have a problem with it though. Like I will say I did have it. Like I was like, wait, whoa, like there was that initial shock of like, whoa, wait, where's our main, where's our guy? But then at the same time, it didn't bother me as much as Daredevil's. It felt, I don't think the word right would be the right word to use, but it didn't feel completely unnatural. Like there were times where I was like, that kind of feels old school. Like it felt like almost like an old school Thor book, it's certain parts. But let's just put the artwork aside. What did you think about the movement of what we were doing?
What
Groenbeck was doing?
What I don't know. Like I don't know if I was just distracted or what, but like I don't feel like we did a lot here. What did we do besides what we got? We've seen what we've already been told, which is that Doom has Hela imprisoned and is trying to use her to get power. Okay, we were told that. Now you showed me in this issue.
Right.
And what?
Well,
I don't. Yeah, I'm just saying. Like, I don't know. Like, and you get this cover. You see this cover. You're like, oh man, we're totally gonna see some Doom Thor battle, and like, nope. Yeah, I know we get fucking red herringed all the time by covers, but like, he doesn't even show up in Latveria until the last panel. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess this was the cover for the next issue. I wasn't very happy with this issue. I really wasn't.
But I will
think-
say I'm intrigued with the sister though. That's all I'm saying. I'm intrigued with the sister.
Sure. The whole like her taking advice, her coming from the future to take advice from her past brother who has seen her from the future multiple times. Yeah, like if you can keep up with that shit, like it's pretty cool. But like the book previous, and again, by the way, this is like what the second. This is the second book in the series, but our second artist. That's not Nick Klein. But the previous one, I believe, who was it?
I get that, Joe.
Eaton, I believe, but felt a lot more Nick Klein. Nick Klein feels very serious. Like I feel like when Nick Klein is on the page, we're not fucking around. This isn't a joke.
Oh yeah, no.
And what we had here was what I would call great art, but it felt like a silly goose time, and that's not the tone that we're doing here. Like this spread is fucking amazing. This is very good art, but this is not the correct artist choice for this book. And I don't like it. Just feels like editors are just saying there's just names on a list, and you say I need someone to fill in for Nick Klein, and they just go this guy. They're not looking at the board. They're not looking at their art. They're not looking at their style. They're just snagging a guy, and that's frustrating because I think some people that aren't paying attention will look at this art and say, Juan Gideon, what the fuck? Like you're a cartoony guy. You can't even do shit. And like his art in this book is really good. It's good enough to the point where I like sought him out and tried to see what else he's done. But it still totally ruined the flow of the book and the tone of the book.
Let me ask you this: are you happy that Odin's no longer in the hammer for a minute?
I'm okay with that. It doesn't bother me one way or the other. I didn't mind in the hammer. I had gotten kind of used to that, so
yeah.
Whatever.
I'm just ready for the Black Gauntlet and the Black Infinity Stone. I'm ready for just, I'm just ready for that. That's what I'm ready for. So let's see here. Let's get to chat really quick. Nick Klein just says Nick Klein has carried this book since Downey left. Now with him off, this run has lost all the magic for me. Unintended, I would assume. Downey brought these badass moments, and Nick Klein captured it perfectly. I would totally agree with that. All right, let's move over to DC, and we've got Dawn of DC Superman Action Comics. No escape from the Necroverse. Wow, 1053. I think I said this in our new comic book day video when this popped up, but it just feels like Superman is starting to hit on all cylinders right now.
Mm-hmm.
In Williamson's run, and now in Phil Kennedy Johnson's run. I can't get enough of the super family in this book and how involved they are in this book. It makes me so happy, incredibly happy. And I like seeing them struggle. I like seeing them getting their asses handed to them. Mm-hmm. And when Kara got blasted and Cal was like, yo, she ain't good, bro. Like,
she messed up.
Yeah, like we need to get her to the medvac. Let's go. Like, I was impressed. I thought this was really fun. I can't remember though if there was one sense of like, wait, what? There may have been one part where I was like, I'm kind of confused, and I don't know if that was. Oh, you know what it is? This is where this idea that there are two Superman books that are somewhat kind of cohesive, but at the same time, they're kind of doing their own thing, right?
Yeah.
And it's the Lex Luthor of it all right now, right? Yeah. So in Williamson's run, Lex is trying to convince Supes to like, trust me, take my help, please.
Mm-hmm.
And in this one, it's like, I got you again, Superman. And he's like, what'd you do? And it just feels like the two storylines with Lex kind of don't, like we're not talking about that, the company that Superman is in charge of in Williamson's run in this run, right? So like there's no connectivity or issue, connective tissue. Can't talk. Does that bother you, or am I just dumb? Like, is that a stupid thing to?
It has not yet bothered me, but I don't think it's dumb. I think I'm giving that a little bit of credit of like, okay, we've got these all going on at the same time right now, but they're really not. Like, I feel like there's enough split here where I can suspend my disbelief and it doesn't bother me. I know that these are not running concurrently, literally. So until they cross over, I'm not going to be worried about that tight of content. It's just not really going to be possible with 4 creative teams, 3 main creative teams going on right now. So no,
I think for me, maybe I'm just too wound up too tight, but I wish that there was some mention of it, because it feels like 2 different characters, right? Like, and I'm more specifically talking about Lex. Like in Williamson's run, it's like, hey, let's join forces, and you can trust me, even though you know you can't. And in this one, it's like, fuck you, Superman, I got you again, like, and so it just feels like 2 different characters, and so it's like, so maybe I need to look at it as Action Comics is happening right before Williamson's run, right before the company is involved. But what's going to throw that off is whether in Williamson's run or in this run something gets referenced, and you're like, but wait, you know what I mean? Like, to me, that'll kind of screw with me a little bit in my mind. But I liked it. Did I read the other 2? No,
I didn't either.
But I kind of want to. What I hope is that Power Girl, because I think Power Girl is the one that I want to really read, and I want to read it in
one chunk.
Yeah, like I want to read it.
Well, it's done. So
okay, well, hopefully it gets re-released as just a print, because I'll buy it.
Or just read the issues you already have.
Not gonna do it. I am against it. All right, let's go to Joe's halftime question really quick. This will be a broad question, so answer however y'all want. But what do comics mean to you? Or what does comics mean to you?
Words and pictures on a page.
So literal.
He says broad question. That's like
broad question. So broad answer. I think for me, it's I don't want to say the easy answer like it's an escape, but it kind of is. But I just like reading comics, and I'll broad it up to manga too. I like reading comics that make me feel connected, that make me feel that I can relate. And how do you relate with a person that is nearly invincible and is fighting a death machine? Well, but there's interactions within the writing that make it feel relevant to you. And so for me, comics, I like just seeing the human and the real connectivity to real life in some of these comics, or in a lot of them. And so I like that. And then on a very human base level, I love the dopamine that I get when I buy comics. Like, I love going to the shop every Wednesday and spending money. Sorry. it's a high for me.
Nope,
so
I totally get that.
Yeah. So that's what it would be for me.
I would say for me, the biggest thing is that I can comfort read. I've always been a big novel reader my entire life, but sometimes it feels like a chore, and sometimes like I feel like I will maybe do it or push myself to read books when I'm not really in the mood, but because I feel like I have to, or I want to maintain this, I've got to read 40 books in a year or some kind of arbitrary stuff. And comics gave me a way to read stories and get entertained and fulfillment in the same way I would from reading novels, but in a way that is more relaxing to me and not as I don't know, not as like hypercritical. Even though I guess maybe doing the show brings that up a little bit, but honestly, I have a lot more fun critiquing and analyzing comics than I do novels.
Right.
That's fucking hard.
Well said. Joe, when you grade this book, do you take points away the backup stories, or judge it on the main story? I judge it on the main story because I don't read the backups. Like, I'm just not. I'm pissed about that. Like, don't shove stories down my throat that I don't, like,
I'm the opposite. I don't take any points away in the bit. And
I'm not taking points away. I just don't
No,
read.
I don't take away points away. And I'm the opposite. Even though there are some books like this one where I probably am just not ever going to touch those backups, I have been pleasantly surprised by backups more often than not, in my experience with comics in general. And so I will never take away points for a backup, but I will always give extra points for a backup.
Okay.
Even though it is a book I missed this week, Detective Comics for the past since Ron V picked it up has been getting bonus points because the size superior backups to me have been great. That run of Shadow of the Bat that we had in Detective Comics last year, where we ran those 12 issues in 12 straight weeks, those Matt Rosenberg backup issues were better than the damn front story, like the main story. That was probably in my top 3 best comic stories of 2021 or 2022, whatever year that came out, and that was backup. So backups get bonuses given but never taken away. I
gotcha. Well, I'm digging this book, and that's crazy to say because I jumped off of it for a while, and it feels like it's got its gusto back, at least for me. You know, I know you love War World, but I dug it.
Yeah.
All right, Knights of Steel, issue number 10.
That's Chips. Pick of the week.
It's my pick of the week. It's pretty easy. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, no, I really liked it. This is again, you know, you're saying that you're gonna delay the books, you're gonna keep the art consistent. Even though there was one issue that had somebody else on it, and I think they learned the mistake from that. But what I liked, I think this book is firing in all cylinders. It's classic Taylor. It's this Elseworld story that's doing really big things and just taking certain narratives that you think you would think and turning them upside down. And to me, the biggest and coolest thing about this book, outside of the explanation of Martian and how, his story is influencing this Knights of Steel story, which I think is really cool. Don't get me wrong. I think it's amazing. And I love the incorporation of it. The scene for me that just got me going like, hell yeah, this is cool, was when Poison Ivy showed up and you had 4 queens ruling the realm, and they were just like, we decide the fate of our land. I was just like, oh shit, like this is cool. Like, and it was devastating too, like with Diana's mother being, I mean, she literally got split in half, and like it was very prominent without seeing it in this issue. Like you saw the body in, being taken care of, and being mourned. I was like, oh, that's heavy. And seeing Diana just being completely devastated.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. It hit all the cylinders for me. And then I like, even though I was hoping that my expectation for the Green Lanterns would have been more prominent and a little different, how it was being used in this book, I was like, that's fucking cool, right? Mm-hmm. You're just a toy. You're just a tool. And, I am the ultimate, these white Martians are just fucking evil, dude. And I don't know. I dug it. I thought, oh, you know what? The other part that I really liked about the book was Constantine eating his fucking words.
Yeah.
Just getting totally played. And even in the narration, he's like, and this is where I lost everybody. And like, boom, like it was great. I just thought this book fired on all cylinders. And I'm, was it you that sent me? Am I not mistaken that we're getting us into season 2 or part 2 of Knights of Steel? I feel like you sent me something on Twitter that they're, after this arc is over, that there's going to be a season 2. Like
maybe.
I'm almost certain you sent me that. Either way, I'm obviously bummed that we're not going to get an issue for at least 2 months, probably 3. But I don't know, man. I just, artwork, the story, the pacing. This is another one of these books where it ended and you were like, well, damn it, I wanted to keep going. And it didn't feel sparse. Like it felt like it had enough in it. It didn't feel short, even though it read quick. But I think it read quick because I was just so immersed into it. So
yeah, I will say this is a really good example of the opposite end of what I was saying, of give me the delays so that Yasmin Putri can be on the book. Her art is essential to this book. We did 2 issues without her on this book, and it fell flat. So it sucks that it's delayed, but please delay it. Let her finish this book. The tone is just not there without her art.
No, it's not. I'm trying to. I swear to God, you sent me something on Twitter saying that there was going to be a season 2 of Dark Knights of Steel.
Yeah, I'm searching right now, but I see nothing.
Huh. I swear to you sent me something. Maybe it was something else, but I hope there is, because this is a great book. I can't see why it wouldn't. I'm sure it's selling like fucking hotcakes, and DC's like, give us more, because they signed him up for it. All right, Detective.
Yeah, Joe, our kids will be reading season 2.
Yeah, Detective Comics issue number 1070. I know you didn't read it, but I'll tell you now. It definitely did what we asked it to do in New Comic Book Day, which is it moved the plot forward, and it moved it so much that Ram V introduced another book that he's going to be writing for DC in this book.
Oh,
we get I think it's called the Society or something like that. I don't remember the.
Oh, is this his Asian American story? Perfect.
They showed up halfway through the book and they fuck with Oracle. They basically not fuck with her, but they basically show her that she doesn't know everything, and that they're kind of saying Batman can't do it all, so we're gonna be here too. And so that's we get the Gotham original family storyline in here. That's great, and it does move. But the introduction of Ram's new superhero group is in here, and I quite enjoyed it. And it actually, it's the first time where someone is introducing like essentially a new piece of work, and I was like, I'm gonna check that out. Like, I'm actually gonna check that out. It's got me intrigued.
The Vigil, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the Vigil. Yep. So I'm 100% in on that. But overall, it was a good book. The pacing was definitely faster than previous books. But I've got to wonder, is Ram's days on Detective coming to an end? Are we getting close? Because
already,
it kind of feels like it. It kind of feels like it could be wrong. It just feels like we're like, hey, I'm gonna go write this now. Yeah, but we'll see. Maybe I could be wrong. I could be totally reading into that. But Demon Wars will release 2 trades before this is over.
That's true.
Oh god.
He's solicited on the book through. So
okay, well, we'll see. We shall see. But overall, I liked it. I thought it was fun. I'm still on it. That's saying something. Ah, shit! I forgot about this one.
I really wanted to read this one.
That's Jim's pick of the week.
It's my other pick of the week. I don't care. I don't give a shit. It's my show. I can do what I want. I'm having 2 picks a week, and they're both on DC. Doom Patrol was the fucking shit. And I think, Empire, you said it best. Doom Patrol did mutants better than the Mutant Office did this week. Metahumans. That's what we're dealing with. That is DC's answer to mutants. And I was here for it. And the Doom Patrol went to Gotham and told Batman to shut up and sit down. And it was fucking awesome. Nate, yeah, you got to go read this book.
Okay.
I am all aboard. It is super fun. The voice of the characters shine through, even though I am not a Doom Patrol scholar. I am very green when it comes to these characters, but about it. This was super fun. It's on my pool. I'm pulling it. I'm not even gonna say we'll read issue 2 and then I'll make my decision. It's on. Doom Patrol is on. It was fulfilling. It was a silly goose time. It ended too quickly. The dialogue was entertaining and I could follow it. And I not once was I like, this is kind of boring. I was eager to turn the page, every page, and just to see what happened. And we get a new character in the book. I think we get 2 new characters in the book, and I liked it. I liked the whole thing, and I think the team itself is very strong, and I'm happy that I picked it up. So Doom Patrol is my other pick of the week. If you were hesitant on the book and you thought maybe I shouldn't pick it up, I don't know, do it. It's been so good. It was good. It was really good. Joe, Doom Patrol is a locked in for me best DC book this week, 100%. I always loved the Doom Patrol, looking for the first appearance for a long time, and now I should just pull the trigger on a half-ass expensive one instead of a wild hunt like I've been doing for years. Do it, get it. Joe Renvy did an interview on Robbie's show, and he said he just wanted to tell one long story. So when this is over, it should be a new writer. Interesting. Doom Patrol. It's my pick of the week. All right. Hold on.
That's next. Pick of the week.
Oh my god, are you guys shocked? You guys believe it? It's only like the 22nd time out of 30 issues.
I should almost make a rule like you have to pick another book. Like we know you're gonna pick this, so you need to pick another book.
I won't follow that rule because it's my show and I don't have to.
Whatever.
Okay, so besides the fact that this is the greatest comic that's being released right now,
God,
especially if you have your own comics review show and you need to know what's going
Will
on.
you shut the fuck up and just review the book.
Man, this book is so good. So, last we left off, Cutter went on her little slaughter in the police station and then framed it to look like Erica did it, and also let the duplicity monster get out there and feed some more. So we got a couple things going on in this book. We got probably the scariest panel, or eeriest, most, not like goriest, but most unnerving panel that we've ever gotten in Something Is Killing the Children.
Okay.
When Cutter finds out that her dolly has been, she gets very upset. Like, so you remember she's trying to frame it to look like Erica killed everyone and she was just helpless and locked in a closet and there was nothing she could do.
Right.
And then there's detectives in there and a cop from another county and they're like, trying to figure out what the hell happened. And she's like, "Did you guys touch my stuff?" They're like, "What?" She's like, "Did you touch my bag? Like, where's my dolly?" They're like, "Yo, the fuck? Like, your dolly?" And she's like, "Where's my dolly?" Like, freaks the fuck out. And then we immediately cut to Erica and I never remember the little girl that's been involved in this the whole time. The little girl sitting in the back of the car, riding next to the two dolls, the doll of Cutter and Erica. And the Cutter doll is like, you just like killed yourself, right? Like, y'all stealing me, and like she's definitely gonna kill you. And Erica's doll goes, no, don't listen to her. She was definitely gonna kill you anyway. And the girl's like, I think I'm just gonna not listen to y'all. The everything was here. Like the gore was here, the scariness was here, the humor was here, the horror. One thing that Tinian loves to tell you or to show you or to do with his horror is he somehow makes a horrific book. A book that is a world where monsters are fucking real and they're still not the scariest thing that are happening in people's lives. And we really got a glimpse of that when Erica takes the little girl and her aunt out to the family farm, essentially, where the little girl and the aunt basically reminisce about their family that had died that had nothing to do with this monster, and how they haven't lived up to the expectations of their families, and how the little girl was known as a hurricane and how she really liked that and identified that and was just like, I was born to be a rebel, I was born to be the outcast of the family, and like I was treated that way since I was born. Like I was never given the chance to be who I wanted to be. I was always labeled before I could. And we just see the horror that these two characters have had to live before their town was ever even overrun, their family by monsters. And that to me is the absolute genius of Tinian's horror. And that was the same thing with the closet. Like, there really actually was a monster in the kid's closet the whole time, and he still wasn't the most horrific thing. It was his bastard dad.
Right.
That was the scariest thing the whole time. And so it just was really intense. It was a really intense issue. And we really didn't get a lot of that gore and that weird, scary stuff besides that one panel of Cutter until the end of the book. We see two boys sneak into an abandoned high school, and they want to go swimming in the pool. Apparently the pool still has water in it. Like, oh yeah, the seniors break in here all the time. We're going to go in there and go swimming. And, of course, one kid's like, yeah, I don't know. And the other kid's like, nah, man, come on. And so they go in there, and one kid, like, starts stripping his clothes off. He's like, I'm diving right in. He jumps in, and the other boy's like, what's that in the water next to you? and he reaches in and he pulls out a severed leg.
Okay.
And the kid, of course, scrambles out and he's like, I don't think we're alone. Or I don't think we're alone. And of course, the one thing we've been told this entire time is that a duplicit type monster, the more it feeds, the more it can symbolize itself as looking like a human. Yeah. Well, this is the creature that pops out of the pool. It essentially looks exactly like Erica, of course, except for the huge eyeball in its stomach. Well,
right.
It's about to eat 2 more victims. I bet you it looks exactly like Erica by the time it finishes. That was a very, very climactic way to tell me I don't get to read this book for 6 more months, which is really frustrating because they're on their planned break now. But goddamn, this book is just so good. The art is amazing. The storytelling is great on 2 different layers. Again, I cannot. How is anyone not reading this book, guys? How are y'all not reading it? It's so good.
Just there's other stuff.
You're reading 3 Superman books, but you can't even read the best book that comics is making right now.
I'm gonna pick up another one soon. Joe, what's this new Hickman project coming out? Not the Ultimate one, but the other one. It's called Gods. And he is essentially preparing to write another Marvel Bible so that he can set the groundwork for like 15 new books. Like that's he's setting it so that more writers can write about new things. Which I have no problem with that, and I'm excited for it. So, yeah. Liquid Kill from Whatnot. I can't tell you what this book's about. I cannot tell you what this book is about because it's a slow burn, but cool shit's happening, and there are a league of female assassins getting ready to overthrow something, whether it's a government or what, but they are on the move, and we kind of see, I think, the other side of what they're about to go take over, but then they show up and they start getting ready to split heads. I will say the cover is 100% better than what we're currently getting. There's more action going on the cover than there is in the book, but I think we're building to this action. But this group of women are getting ready to do some serious damage to some kind of society or country, and I'm here for it. I'm going to pick up issue 3, but I couldn't tell you what the fuck is going on, and I think that's intentional, right? We're building this world, and I don't think it's because it's just bad like structuring, or it's not that the book flows. I think it flows perfectly fine. But like the interiors of the book is not this colorful. It's very dark. It's dim. I think it's meant to be that way. But I will say I'm kind of hoping we get to this point because the cover is phenomenal. So hopefully we'll get to it. But I just don't know exactly what the hell's going on in the book. But it looks really cool. Joe, this cover looks a lot like a highly influenced Alex Ross cover. 100%. The artist sounds, at least it sounds interesting. It's really cool. It checks the box in the sense that I want to do something new, right? I want to incorporate something new. It's an independent. It's from a different publisher. It's from Whatnot. I'm going to do it. And so I'm enjoying it, but I want the one scratch it's not, or one itch it's not scratching is like, what's going on? And I'm sure we'll get explained as we continue. But if you were to buy this book alone because of the cover, I think you'd be disappointed. Because it's just not there yet. We're getting there. Like there's semblances, like there's little drips of it, little things here and there that are happening, but it's not there yet. That's gonna do it for this week's episode, our live episode 126 here on YouTube. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Yes,
I got something for everybody here. If you are into independent comics, if you're into horror stuff like I am, I haven't seen Jaden here today, have we? Jaden would definitely be all over.
I thought Jaden popped in for a second.
Did he? Maybe. But this is a book I found out about after we had recorded the new comic book for this week. Have we done this one, or am I about to talk out of turn?
What book?
Airball. It doesn't matter. I'm going to talk about it. There's a new book coming out next week from Dark Horse.
We're gonna talk about that next. We're gonna talk about it soon.
Well, I'm gonna talk to him about it now.
But
these guys get to hear about it now. Yep.
Don't do that.
I'm excited about it.
Just tease it.
Nope. Hairball.
Okay.
It's called Hairball. It's a Matt Kent book, and he is doing it with Tyler and Hillary Jenkins. So these guys have teamed up before quite a bit. They've done Fear Case, and they did King of Nowhere. What is that clown one that we read? I don't remember, but they've done some really weird shit. So,
haha,
that's it. Sneak peek. Get on the lookout for that book. It is the very first book that's getting launched with Matt Kent's imprint at Dark Horse called Flux House. All about his weird shenanigans.
Did you know that Dark Horse does manga? That they publish manga?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're the ones that are doing the like Berserk huge volumes and stuff.
They're doing Berserk, and they're also doing an omnibus of Evangelion, Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Oh,
but it's a storyline. So in episode, either the second to last or second to last, the penultimate episode of the original anime, there's a sequence that happens where Shinji lives a life without fighting giant monsters in a mech suit. And so somebody went and wrote an entire manga series of him as just a normal high schooler living his life. And I want to read that so bad. And apparently volume 6 came out like last week, but I gotta talk to Ron and see if he can get me volume 1, which came out like 3 years ago. So damn it. But yeah, I didn't realize that. It's pretty cool. I picked up the code name Ric Flair after the plane crash in the 70s. The government rebuilt Ric Flair and made Jesus Christ. Oh god. That's crazy.
That's awesome.
Anyway, let me get back to my spiel. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and give us a like if you haven't already. If you're watching this as a past episode, make sure to do those things. We will catch you guys this Tuesday for New Comic Day preview video. That will go on at 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, and then we'll catch you guys again live this coming Sunday, where we'll review all those books. Which again, there's maybe like 7 or 8, so it's a very, very small week. But nonetheless, guys, we appreciate y'all hanging out. Love talking to y'all. And just hanging out and having a silly goose time. But we will catch you guys again this Tuesday and then this Sunday. So, as always, fam, be kind to one another and read more comics. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.